Hello everyone and welcome back to Final Fantasy IV, and it's time to actually do some exploring in the underground. We finally have an airship that we can control, and can fly over lava, so we can go anywhere we want, and fight any random encounter we want, and run away from any random encounter we want. Yeah, let's ditch these guys. Nothing special, just some recolors of stuff we fought before. And welcome to the Smiths. World's greatest blacksmith, huh? Well, we're gonna see about that. So, what has got their boss down in the dumps? Well, I think we will eventually be able to do something about that. Oh well, there are plenty of other places to go. Like, there's another actual town over here. Lally-ho! Not all dwarves have the same password? Who would have thought? Oh, we can actually go there. Hey look, just because we don't like ambient lava, unlike some people... But there is some new stuff we can buy here. Ooh, we're running low on arrows. Well, equip another middle sword, because we're going to need the extra strength. And we need to sort out our inventory situation. However, we'll deal with that after we get some armor. Once we get some armor... Thank you. Yeah, we'd better sort that out. So, apart from the shield, the diamond set is the best armor that money can buy in this game. If we want anything better, we're going to have to find it. Now, let's get Kane all set up here. I really should have done this inventory management off-screen. But I guess this just goes to show how crowded your inventory can get if you're not keeping an eye on all the junk you accumulate inevitably. Let's see, toss that bow. Toss that ring. Well, actually, we'll be holding on to that drain spear for a little while longer. Toss all these shields. These armors. And the short swords. Yeah, Final Fantasy hasn't quite reached the stage where you actually have infinite inventory capacity. And that should do us for armor for quite a while. Edge gets some extremely needed magic defense. And Rydia finally gets herself a golden hairpin. Rydia won't be getting a better weapon for quite a while yet, though. But Rosa needs some new ammunition. The reason I'm buying so much, the reason I'm investing so much into mute arrows is because mute arrows don't just have a chance of inflicting, well, mute. They also deal double damage to mage-type enemies, and there are quite a few of them coming up. Yeah, the password down here is hi-ho. Who would have thought? That guy's in a hurry. And the Tamra treasure room. Doesn't really have anything exceptionally useful, but anything you can get for free, really. So now we're just leaving town. We don't need to worry about that cave, we need to worry about this cave. Okay, this cave leads to the land of summoned monsters. And you want to have the float spell before coming in here. Because those glowing tiles are pretty nasty. They do something like 58 damage per step. And this isn't even the only cave that has them. Okay, the enemies down here are also pretty nasty. They're a pretty clear step above even the stuff we just fought in the Tower of Babel. The warriors hit pretty hard, but are otherwise unexceptional, but the fiends... The fiends counterattack with charm. So yeah, this is the kind of problem that charm can cause as usual. Still, at least it's not Final Fantasy II about it. Yeah, the problem down here is this is the first time you start encountering enemies that can actually survive Titan. So you can't rely on Rydia to just blow everything away in one shot. However, they do count as mage-type enemies, so Rosa can be very strong. This is a real problem. Because any action they have queued up when charm is still carried out. So, a few rounds of the good old healing drink. Oh wait, this is magic, not potions. Never mind. And since no enemies down here are actually weak to ice, we can just go back to the Ogre Axe. So yeah, the Land of Summoned Monsters is a completely optional area. And here's a summoner. It summons monsters. If you kill the summoned monster, it summons another one. And the strength of the monsters can vary quite a bit. And Cain is blinded. Oh well. Yeah, they don't waste any time in summoning. Still, when you're here, you should enjoy the fact that this is one of the few places in the game where Rosa can do decent regular attack damage. Whoops, I chose regular attack. Ah, well, it ended well into the end. I need to figure out where I'm going with my sentences better. So yeah, this is one of the game's few actually optional dungeons. But, as with all of the optional dungeons, it's a very good idea to go here anyway. In this part of the game, Radia's strength with her attack magic has kinda plateaued. She won't be getting any of the Tier 3 elemental spells until a good bit later from now. So you need to rely on new summons in order to boost her magic strength. And that's not even counting all of the really nice optional equipment you can find down here. The price, of course, is some pretty mean encounters. Nothing you can't handle, but it's definitely not a nice place. I don't even know what hooligans do. They keep on getting killed by Cain before they can do anything. One of the advantages of Cain's spears, by the way, is that they count as arrows for striking enemies that are weak against arrow attacks, like flying enemies and that sort of thing. The thing about Final Fantasy IV's random encounter rate is that it is extremely random. You can't really manipulate it the same way you can manipulate the random encounter rate in later Final Fantasy games like Final Fantasy IX. Oh yeah, one of the great things about Float is that it doesn't actually count as an ailment. It's just an effect that lasts for the entire floor, however long you spend on it. And that's another peril of being charmed, because charm actions are also extremely random. So casters will cast whatever, and Cecil cast Exit, which took me out of the encounter without actually allowing me to finish it off and gain experience from it. another thing about the Cave of Summoned Monsters is that we are now in an area of the game that was not actually covered by Nintendo Power. Not that I mind that they actually stopped short, they couldn't spoil the whole game. Still, Nintendo Power was a lot of fun. Its actual gaming tips column was very useful. Like, the strategy they put out for the final boss of Destiny of an Emperor is still widely accepted as the ideal strategy. Well, one of the two ideal strategies. Okay, the problem with the Poison Axe is that it's two-handed. And I really like having my shields. Especially since we're going to be able to pick up a couple of really good ones very soon. Okay, Red Eyes, these are just flying enemies. They attack you, they can confuse you. They're really nothing too special. And despite being red, they are only weak to arrow attacks. I thought they might be weak to ice. I was wrong. That's the way it goes. I need a better weapon for Cecil. You know, now that Nintendo Power is all archived at archive.org, I'm going to have to see if there were any advice columns considering this game. Because I'm pretty sure that somebody had problems with the final boss. I don't have that much time. I take damage, I heal. That's how RPG's back now worked. You know, I kind of wish that someone would actually make a high-effort RPG in this style again. Because a lot of the 16-bit throwbacks are just RPG Maker clones that use the base RPG Maker assets. And, well, okay, this monster in a box is no problem. Yeah, let's burst it up. And other JRPGs can be very complex in very unnecessary ways. So what I really want is a game that had this level of effort put into its trappings, and also this this mechanically simple. I don't really care about things being complex. Anyway, I also took a break to gain a level here, because I need the reflect spell for what I'm about to do next. Oh. Then why do you sell equipment that we can use? Oh, the rat tail! That's going to be about as important to us as it was going to be, as it was in Final Fantasy I. So, the Land of Summoned Monsters also has a bunch of really good treasures, on top of the actual summons you can get here. And we'll just go through this secret trapdoor. Samurai arrows, elixir, ether 2, and the samurai bow. Now, the samurai bow is called the Yoichi bow in the Japanese version. And I can see why they would actually change the name to just samurai, because the number of, say, preteens, the number of American preteens, I should say, who have read the Heike Monogatari is probably very small. Yeah, chocobos don't normally talk, they just normally go wark wark. And we're just gonna loot your house. And a save point. Okay, the weapons shop. We can buy new whips here, but we don't want to. We already have the charm rod, but we can buy the long sword. Now, Edge is still fairly fragile, but at least now he can start doing some real damage. And in this armor shop, we get the Sorcerer Robes and the Aegis Shields. The Sorcerer Robes are the best wizard armor you can buy. And the Aegis Shield not only significantly increases magic defense, it also gives you a step of magic evasion. So, now that we've settled all of that, it's time to explore the deeper parts of the Land of Summoned Monsters. Once we save, of course, because things are gonna get a little bit dangerous. Another thing I like about this game is because of how they boosted the experience gains and all that. This version of Final Fantasy IV is actually shorter than most of the original accurate versions. A playthrough of this game will only run you about 14 hours or so. Now let's read up on summoned monsters. Titan, Ifrit, Ramu, Shiva, let's see, Chocobo, that is true. Yeah, this means that Rydia had to basically beat all of her current summons. Now these are the summons we haven't met yet. Sylphs, Odin, and this gives you clues of how to deal with them. Except for Leviathan, of course. Yeah, we have 120 Days of Sodom, 50 Shades of Grey, Twilight. Only the best. I am kidding. Well, there's a first time for everything. You know, if you didn't come here, you could miss that entry on the Great Whale. Okay, there are two bosses down here. First off, Queen Asura. This is why you need Reflect, because Asura will constantly heal herself, and all of her attacks are counterattacks, and they are very strong. Thankfully, she cannot revive herself. Also, Rydia's summons are the only things that can get past a wall. Well, Reflect, I guess. So if you want to use any offensive magic, Rydia is your only path. Now you can't count on Asura to heal anyone who is in immediate need because Reflection acts randomly. And in fact, you're going to have to go through this entire fight just taking your lumps. And Asura is very strong. See what I mean? Granted, it was a hit on Edge, but... And sometimes the cures work out. Yeah, see, Edge is actually hitting about as hard as Cecil right now. Well, not right now, because Cecil is berserked, but you know what I mean. And down he goes. Yeah, Edge is very vulnerable in both of these fights. Also, I'm not entirely sure it's possible for her to reflect life onto an unconscious party member. Either that or I'm just not that lucky. Well, we'll do what we can to help Edge. Oh yeah, because these attacks are counters, Cecil will not actually cover for critical health party members. Or that may just be a function of the fact that I've zerked him. Well, that's the end of that anyway. Okay, what Asura does as a summon is it randomly casts either Cure 3, Cure 4, or Life on your entire party. And I actually think we're in good enough shape to take on the next boss anyway. So let's go get. Sure thing. Okay, Leviathan. Pretty much the only saving grace of this entire fight is that he's weak against lightning. He only has 2 attacks, but he actually does them very quickly. Also, I hope you got rid of your Blizzard armor, because that'll make Leviathan very easy to destroy Cecil and Kane. You should have plenty of lightning to throw at Leviathan, though. And I may have made a mistake in casting Berserk instead of, healing. Because in this fight, you can't heal too much. See what I mean? Now, Leviathan has unusually tough defenses. And a pretty large chunk of hit points to work through. So this may be the first really challenging boss you have to fight after... Well, these two may be the first really challenging bosses you have to fight after what Calcabrina and Golbez can do to you. So my advice for this one, stick to your plan. If you don't, you'll get run over. Like so. Because of the way this boss works, it's actually fairly difficult to recover from having one of your party members knocked out, because Leviathan has no physical attacks at all. He has no attacks that Cecil can protect weakened party members from, which is characteristic of a lot of bosses from this point on in the game. And down he goes. Okay. Leviathan does about twice as much damage as Titan, but for only 10 more magic points. And that's it for now. I will be seeing you next time when we go to the next optional area. Bye!